All right, welcome back to the channel. This is talkSPORT Endzone, your dedicated YouTube channel from talkSPORT. And of course, this weekend we are bringing you live and exclusive coverage of 5 of the 6 wildcard playoff games, including on Sunday night, 6 p.m. UK time, as the Buffalo Bills welcome the Denver Broncos into Orchard Park. I'm delighted to say, joining us now, star pass rusher of the Bills, A.J. Epenesa. A.J., how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you guys doing?
Hey, look, it's playoff football, so we're hyped at this end. I can only imagine what it's like being in that building and getting ready. And I know for you it's year 5 AFC East titles, but is there anything that compares to January and getting into this point of the season?
Yeah, no, I would say this time of year is special. It's win or go home football. This one gets its most serious. For me, things are kept in perspective because my rookie year, I was teammates with Jerry Hughes, who was, I think, year 11 or 12 my rookie year. And he told me that was his first playoff win ever of his whole career. Whenever he said that to me, it kind of keeps it in perspective. So even though we've done it 5 times, it feels like the first time all over again.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Look, from your perspective, when you take that into account, the fact that it is 5 straight years of the playoffs for the Bills, an organization who hadn't won these 25 years before that, what makes this season feel maybe any different from the last runs? Does it feel any different from the recent runs?
Me personally, I try to keep things as consistently as possible. Obviously, every year is a new challenge, new teams, new atmospheres for this and that. And I would say the only thing we try to do differently throughout the season is just learn from what we've done in the past and try to be better on it this year. And some of the same mistakes we may have made, try to improve on those and don't do them this year, obviously. But also utilize the great weapons we have and try to put an exclamation point on it.
Yeah, I love that. Look, from your perspective, just starting with your defense, this year, I feel like there's been a really kind of warming into the year and actually I love that you are a group who can do it with 4 up front, who continue to stick to that mantra and playing his own behind it. But when it comes to playoff football, and we'll talk a bit about your opponents coming up, do you have to assess what you do as a defense and think about how you have to adjust to January, or do you think it's about getting out there and doing what you've done all year?
I think it's a little mix of both. I think there's some things that you got to change, some things you got to not change all the way, but put little caveats on it. Make it just so it's not as simple as them seeing what they've seen on film all year long and just make them think a little bit harder. And I think that's one thing we try to always do all year round is dictate the fight. Bring the fight to the offense, make them have to make a tough decision because we're putting pressure on them with this, putting pressure on them with 4 people, with a blitz here. Just putting him under duress to make him have to make a quick decision where he doesn't get time to sit there, diagnose it, think about it, and hopefully force a mistake.
Do you think that's you have a different approach, or there will be a different approach at all because it's a rookie on the other side, because it's a guy who's never experienced this before? A rookie's been very impressive, don't get me wrong, in Bo Nix, but a guy who's never experienced this playoff atmosphere before.
Yeah, for sure. We try to do that with everybody, put them in tough situations, but rookies in particular, just because, like you said, first time experiencing certain things, first time in a playoff game, first time in Buffalo, all these different factors, and then plus, hopefully, with the pressure that we add on them and make them, like I said, dictate the fight, that'll be something big for us, and to be able to hopefully, like I said, force some mistakes, force his hand to be able to maybe give us the ball a couple times.
What have you seen from him on film this week? What have you seen, and what's impressed you, and what have you seen maybe that you can exploit?
Yeah, he's obviously a very talented player, high draft pick. He's got a great arm. He's very capable of all different kinds of throws. But I think one of his biggest threats, other than his throwing capability, is his legs. He can run. He's got over 50 scrambles this year. He's got a bunch of first downs. I think almost 50% of those are first downs as well. So he's a legit dual threat guy. He can move it with his feet. He can throw it well, and that'll be a challenge for us to contain him and get him down.
Luckily enough, if you need somebody with decent legs to run some scout team, maybe Josh can jump in there and just show you how it's done.
Yeah, no, he definitely would make it hard. He can move around pretty well.
Talk to us. I do want to ask more about the defense, but talk to us about Josh Allen this year. A lot of MVP talk this year. It just feels like he's had a sensational season.
Yeah. I've been watching him for a long time. I've been 5 years with Josh, and I think he's the best player in the league, hands down. I might be a little biased being on his team and being with him for a while, but just watching what he does and how he approaches everything, and then just on top of that, being such a great person and being genuine in how he conducts himself, it's just a testament to who he is and what he's about and how his morals and what he does, how he holds himself to a high standard as a person. That carries over into the football field. So privileged to be his teammate and to be around him all the time. But he's an excellent player and an even better person.
I feel like this season, one thing that we worked from the outside is the aggression, the going for on fourth downs, the being willing to take that step. And I think back to that game against the Chiefs, 6 weeks ago now. But the 4th and 2, that scramble, you're watching that on the sideline, and I feel like other seasons I'd have been biting my nails, and now I watch and I'm like, Josh has got this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, that's someone asked me the other day. They asked me what do they think my favorite play is for the season. And I told them that because to be able to do that in a high pressure situation, like you said, 4th and 2, scramble, go out and get the job done and seal it. I mean, that's all the impressive things in one, and it's just to be able to witness that and the jaw dropping moments, so many of them in a single season. It's hard to say that he's not the best.
And people forget you had one in the first half that you didn't convert, and that just made it all the ballsier to go for it. I loved it, and I think back about that play, and I think if there ends up being an America's game about this season, I feel like that will be one of the crux moments in there, right? In terms of the defensive side of the ball with you guys, there's a couple of guys I want to ask about. Firstly, how big has it been having Matt Milano back?
Yeah, no, Matt, it's been huge having him back. I mean, in the years past, I can't tell how many times he's bailed me out or saved me a couple times with this and that, this gap, that gap, and then having him back at a more solid role this season, having him back join us, it's like having Big Bro back. He comes back, he's so good, he's so talented, and you feel such a sense of relief having him behind you because he's on his P's and Q's, he's always where he needs to be, he's making those plays. And just having something like that brings a level of comfort to give you the ability to just go fast and play your game. And just having someone like that behind you, it's real comforting.
And then I want to ask about a guy who I think has an all-pro, at least second-team all-pro shout this year in Christian Benford, who top 2-3 corner in the league. I know you're focusing forwards a lot of the time, but when you get to watch what he does on film, how impressed have you been with that young man?
Oh, I am a huge Christian Benford fan. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I think he's one of the big. He's out here right now all by himself on the field. I'm watching him right there. He's out here by himself right now catching the ball from our team chaplain, the guy who prays for us. He's out there. They're out here just practicing. And I've been saying it for years to my teammates, to everybody. He's special. And to watch him have the success that he's been having doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But it's just the consistency. I'm almost more surprised that he's been doing it every game, every practice, every this, and that's his standard. It's been impressive to watch him grow, and he's going to reap all the benefits because of the efforts and the work that he's put in.
I love that, man. Absolutely love that. Look, just turning our attention to Sunday, we mentioned a little bit about Bo Nix already. He's an offense where their offensive line has been one of the real units of the season for me. Like, I think Quinton Miners was one of the biggest snubs at the Pro Bowl, and like you'll be playing off that left side, obviously. I think Garrett Bowles probably had his best season there. So, like, do you feel like again you guys have got what the juice you need up front, the stuff you need to be able to beat what has been one of the best units in the NFL this year?
Oh yeah, when it comes down to it, I would take our guys over anybody, and put them up against anybody. That's just the mindset we have as a defense and as a defensive line. But we got guys with such different talents, with such different abilities. That's one thing we take pride in is we're all so different when it comes to pass rushing. If you're just sticking with the defensive ends, you got Vaughn, Greg, myself, Smoot, and Javon Solomon, and all of us are. We couldn't be more different physically and just different talents, different gifts, different abilities when it comes to pass rushing, setting the run. And so to have to be able to prepare for so many different styles, I think that's another factor that kind of puts pressure on other teams sometimes.
Do you feel with how different your room is, like I was going to ask about Von, but like, do you feel like you can learn a lot from the different guys because they have such different skill sets to you?
Yeah, no, that's something that, since Vaughn's joined the team has become a huge aspect of my game. And I had been participating in his pass rush summit probably 5 years now. or maybe 6, because I went while I was in college one year. And Vaughn, I messaged him on like Instagram when I was in college still, and he texted me saying, he texted me back, give me the link to the thing to his pass rush summit. And from that point on, I started kind of taking things from other people's games, implying them in my own. And there's certain things that Vaughn can do that I just can't do. I'm 6'6", and Vaughn is I think 6'4", 6'3", and he just has such an elite bend that some guys that are built like me and Greg Russo, not the same type, but there are his stab, his cross chop, his swipes. There's different things from other facets of his game that we could take away as well.
It's weird. I've raised this game in 2 different interviews today, but I remember talking to Von after Super Bowl 50. He's the MVP of that game, an unbelievable season. But all he wanted to talk about was DeMarcus Ware and winning it for him and how important it was to do it for the guy that inspired them all. And it feels like 10 years later now, nearly, that's flipped, and now he's the guy that other people are like holding up in that high esteem. It's really cool to see.
It is, yes. No, and having him on here, I don't think any of the guys have done anything but grow, get better, especially in just their abilities and their confidence in themselves. Because he's such a positive guy. That's one thing he preaches all the time is positivity. You speak things into existence and you feel the energy that you express. You know what I mean? And so something he's been a part of, something I've always kind of thought about, but having him kind of say it just gives you a different thought about it. And so he's been nothing but great when he's joined our squad.
Absolutely love that. Look, AJ, we really appreciate how generous you've been with your time, particularly with such a huge game just a few days away. Best of luck against the Broncos on Sunday. And, if not before, maybe we'll be chatting in New Orleans.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Hopefully we'll see you down there.
Beautiful stuff.